right, this is the detention docket for the 323rd District Court for Thursday, February 25th, 2021. Comply with the Texas Supreme Court Emergency Order number 33 related to the coronavirus. We are not conducting in-person proceedings. However, we are using Zoom.
What volume is that?
Comply with the Texas Open Courts Act, Article 1, Section 13 of the Texas Constitution. We are broadcasting these proceedings on YouTube to give the public meaningful access to what occurs inside their courtrooms. This is still a court proceeding. The court does expect everyone to behave appropriately for court. So please not be laying down. Please not be doing anything inappropriate like using the bathroom or consuming food or illegal drugs. You're also expected to behave appropriately. Please not have bright lights behind your head, out of your face. So, and don't have moving objects in the background like being in a vehicle or ceiling fans. All right, so we'll go ahead and start with Casey Abamba. The court does expect everyone also to have their cameras on and be on camera. If you're an officer of the court, you are excused from this requirement. All right, Casey, are you there?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm Judge Kim. This is a detention hearing. The law says when a child is brought to our facility, you have to see a judge within 2 days. I have to decide whether to keep you in custody or to release you. If I keep you in custody, the law says you have to see a judge every 10 days while you're here. Mr. Lee, please keep your camera from moving around. All right, it needs to be position stable. All right, so Casey, you have a right to attorney, right to remain silent. Mr. Willett has been appointed as your attorney. So, let's see, Casey, well, happy birthday. You turned 16 today.
Thank you.
So, all right. So yesterday you referred by Arlington Police Department. Well, let's see. You have a history with us. Well, you do. You started when you were 2 days after your 13th birthday. No, 2 days after your 12th birthday. The burglary of a vehicle. Then the week of your 13th birthday, possession of marijuana case. Then you're 14. You have a couple unauthorized use of motor vehicles. Criminal trespass. So we have 5 supervisory cautions by the DA's office. So 5 times the DA said, just go and don't break the law and we won't pursue anything. So now Arlington brought you in. You're saying last week around 5:20 in the evening, their dispatcher a shooting call. When they got there, victim was already at the hospital. Witnesses said that a vehicle was in the area. The police got a license plate, talked to the victim. Victim had been shot and had not been shot, but it had fragments of glass that got into one of his eyes. Said it was his girlfriend's house and the dog had gotten out, looking for the dog. And when entering the house, heard gunshots. All right, Mr. Lahara, when you wrote in here that when entering the house, which house? The victim's house or somebody else's house?
Somebody else's house.
So they were just looking for the dog and walked into somebody else's house?
It was a relative, Your Honor.
A relative, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Heard gunshots, bullets hit the glass screen door, and glass hit him in one of his eyes. Victim said that the suspect's vehicle had been following him and the driver was yelling at him. Victim's mother's house was shot a few weeks before. We got to the house, the driver of the suspect vehicle got out and he heard the gunshots. At 10 o'clock, he was located by the police, pulled over for traffic violation. I'm assuming, Mr. Lahara, that's 10 o'clock last night?
Yes, Your Honor.
Passenger was the owner of the vehicle and gave consent to search. No weapons found. Vehicle was released to owner. The driver was arrested on warrant. On February 20th, police received information about a suspect. There was a lineup. Detention provided a lineup to the police. The victim identified Casey as the individual who shot at him. All right, well, Mr. Lahara, does Casey have gang history?
There is none documented, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, did we give him a drug test?
We have not given him a drug test.
Why not?
I couldn't tell you.
Okay. All right, can you report back to the court when detention hearings are over and let me know why we didn't give him a drug test? This is his 8th contact with this court. So
I will, Your Honor.
Thank you. Do we have a parent here for Mr. Aramba?
Your Honor, I talked to the parents around 9:30, and father was in his way here, but he hasn't arrived yet.
Okay. All right. All right, Casey. So if you don't know, anytime a kid is involved with an offense involving a firearm, well, not always, but almost always detain them. If a gun is used, then I'm slow to release. You have to get your behavior level to level 1 outstanding for me to be comfortable releasing you. I feel like if I was to release you now, you'd be a danger to yourself or to others. All right. Thank you, Casey.
Thank
Serena
you.
Byron.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. O'Hara. Serena Byerly.
Hello.
Serena. All right. Well, we've met before. You know, it's a detention hearing. You're brought in, you have to see a judge within 2 days. Have to decide whether to keep you or release you. If I keep you here, the law says you have to see a judge every 10 days while you're here. Mr. Lee, this is your last and final warning that you need to be on camera and you need to stop moving the camera around. All right. This is the next time I'm just going to remove you from the hearing. Serena, you have the right to an attorney. You have your right to remain silent. Ms. Jacobson is your attorney. She is here. Good morning, Ms. Jacobson.
Good morning, Judge Kim.
All right. So, Serena, we sent you to Lake Granbury Youth Services and you were unsuccessfully discharged. I think this was your second time at Lake Granbury. And you were told after the first time when they were going to discharge you that if you continued causing problems, that you would be unsuccessfully discharged. So, Lori Zarnecki, you're here, right?
Yes, sir.
She's here, Your Honor.
I think I remember seeing her.
And Serena's mom is on as well.
Serena's mom is, where is
Lisa
she?
Perez.
Oh, Lisa Perez. Okay.
I'm here too, Your Honor. Good neighbors.
All right. Ms. Neighbors, how are you? I mean, I know how you are, but you're holding on?
I had power and I have running water. I can't complain.
If there's anything I can do for you, let me know. Okay?
Thank you, Your Honor. I appreciate it.
I mean that sincerely too. I'm not just saying that.
I appreciate it.
All right, Sarita. Look, I mean, there's so much that I'm trying to do to help you. But if you just don't want my help, if you do it your own way, that's your choice and your prerogative. But I'll tell you what, I am actually one of your biggest fans. And there are a few kids that have made an impact on me where I want to try and help them as much as possible. But if you don't want my help, there's nothing I can do. All right. So we're going to have to reassess your situation. I have to decide, given your history of running away, right, I'm going to go and detain you. I think you knew this was coming. And so we're going to reassess and figure out what else we can do to help. All right. Do you have any questions for me, Serena?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. I told you one day I want you to come into here through the front door and come by and say hi to me. And I still mean that. I just, I don't want you to see you coming in through detention. I really don't. It really, I don't know. It really bums me out.
Yes,
All right.
sir.
All right. Thank you, Serena.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Lorenzo Bird.
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Bird, I'm Judge Kim. This is a detention hearing. You've been here for 10 days, so I'm reviewing your case, deciding whether to keep you or release you. If I keep you here, you'll see a judge every 10 days while you're here. You have the right to remain silent. You have a right to an attorney. The attorney is Ms. Herrick, who is here. I think I saw Ms. Herrick.
Hello.
Good morning, Judge. Good morning, Lisa. All right. So, Lorenzo, you're level 1 outstanding. You have been since January 31st. This is the Uber Eats driver. Okay. All right, so Lorenzo, evidently at the time you were caught for the investigation of the Uber Eats driver that was stabbed to death, there's indication that we got from a different law enforcement agency that do we have a parent here for Lorenzo?
So there are two people in the waiting room for him, not his mother, but his aunt is Sharon Torres, and then there's also a friend of the family named Kayla Schumpert. I believe they're both in the waiting room.
Okay, so Sharon, I see a Sharon, no last name, in the waiting room, and Kayla Rache also in the waiting room. But if they're late for court, they're late for court.
Okay.
So
That's my Because I just sent them the link like 2 minutes before we
Oh, is it?
started. It's not their fault, it's
All
mine.
right. Well, if you're telling me that they got the information late, I'll go ahead and admit them.
Thank you.
I did try to contact the mom and couldn't get a hold of her.
Mom's in jail.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. That's information I have. All right. So Lorenzo, I'm looking at this. I'm deeply concerned because Emily, you and your co-respondent were both making arrangements to leave the jurisdiction of this court and leave this state. So I'm afraid if I was to let you go, you would not appear for court. So I'm going to continue to detain you. All right.
Your Honor, would you consider releasing him on an electronic monitor?
No, because you can just cut the EM off. I mean, he was going across the country, so it's about 1,500 miles away. That's one of those, and especially with evidently there were gang members in Chicago that were willing to make arrangements. I feel like he would have the resources to abscond.
Sure.
So,
I'm definitely not going to argue with you, but it is my understanding that it was the companion who was making those arrangements to leave and not Lorenzo.
right, and so what they say, thick as thieves.
Sure.
I'm just very concerned. So I'm very slow, especially the nature of this offense and how serious it was. I'm just very, very concerned. Lorenzo, I'm going to let you know, I'm going to be extra cautious. Do not think getting to level 1 of outstanding is a waste. That is certainly something that helps your attorney. But you have to understand that when the offense is serious enough, it's not a simple get to level 1 outstanding and get out of here. You have to show me a pattern of behavior that convinces me that you do not belong here. All right?
So for Lorenzo's sake, is it fair for us to understand that you would consider releasing him at a later detention hearing?
Yes, I leave it open-ended. The only time I really kind of don't is when I release somebody and they come back in, whether it's they've absconded or committed the same offense. But when there's a homicide involved, then I'm very slow. I'm very, very cautious about this one, Mr. Bird, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Mr. Eric Cuevas. All right, Mr. Lee, I made the announcement that you can't have moving backgrounds and you're in a moving car, so I'm removing you from this detention hearing.
Thank you.
All right, Eric, do we have Eric? All right, Eric, I'm Judge Kim. This is a 10-day hearing. You've been here 10 days. So I'm deciding whether to keep you or release you. If I keep you, you'll see a judge every 10 days while you're here. You have the right to remain silent. You have a right to an attorney. Your attorney is Mr. Adler. I believe he's in the building. Mr. Adler, are you here?
Yes, Judge, I'm in the parking lot sitting in my
Okay,
car.
great, thank you. All right, so Eric, 15 years old. You're on probation for aggravated robbery. And now Fort Worth PD brought you in February 9th. There's a theft call. Let's see, call said the complaint was following a black Honda occupied by 4 subjects who stole his son's money. When there's a traffic stop, driver is identified as Eric. According to the complainant, the victim was attempting to purchase an iPhone using OfferUp. There's an instruction to meet. Black Accord got there, approached the window. Eric said the phone was in the back seat, rolled the window down. At that point, the suspect in the back seat snatched the money, pushed the victim away, and the car drove off. $250 was taken. And you're pausing for weed. So you're, just to get this straight, Ms. Lopez, he was still on probation for aggravated robbery using a firearm.
Yes, Your Honor.
Correct?
Yes, he has about a year left on that offense.
Okay. So you're on probation for aggravated robbery, and now you're identified as the driver in another robbery case, and you're smoking weed while you're on probation. So I just, as a protection for you and the public, I'm going to go ahead and detain you. All right. Thank you, Mr. Cuevas.
Okay, Your Honor.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Mr. Adler. Lauren De La Rosa.
Your Honor, this was an out of custody detention hearing. Lauren refused to get up this morning to come with her mother to court.
Okay.
Her mother is on Zoom, Bridget Cantrell.
Okay. Hello, Ms. Cantrell. So I guess Lauren decided that she's not going to come to court today?
Mother said she doesn't have any, she can't hear anything. She just texted me.
She has no audio or she's deaf?
She has no audio, I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. Well, Ms. Huey, let's go ahead and issue a warrant for her and we'll see you at a detention hearing once she's here.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Judge, may I be excused?
Yes, thank you. Mark Martin Herrera.
Martin Herrera. Martin Herrera.
Hi, Mr. Herrera. I'm Judge Kim. This is a detention hearing. When a child is brought to your facility, you have to see a judge within 2 business days. I have to decide whether to keep you or release you. If I keep you, you have to see a judge every 10 days while you're here. You have the right to remain silent. You have a right to an attorney. We have appointed Ms. McGonigal as your attorney. Is Kathleen here? Okay, I don't see her. Ms. Hopkins, I'm going to ask you to step in for Ms. McGonigal.
Good morning.
All right, Martin, Ms. Hopkins is here. She is here to make sure that she can answer your questions and make sure I'm doing everything properly. I guess we have parents here as well. All right, so Martin, you are currently on probation for an assault of a public servant. And then on February 24th, Mom called us to ask where you were because you weren't at home. And we told your mom that you were at your father's address. And the mom called and told us that you were not at your dad's home. So
No,
he was,
all of that's a miscommunication.
Ms. Cruz, are you here? I know she was having problems connecting earlier. Ms. Cruz, are you here? Angela Cruz? Oh, there you go.
I believe she may be having some audio difficulties, Your Honor. We had issues hearing her, so I could possibly answer any questions you might have as well.
Great. So, Ms. Judd, so Martin had an EM on him, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor. When he had court in November, Judge Porter ordered that he complete 90 days on the monitor. In December, he failed that and was in detention, and I believe he came back in January, and then he was placed back on the monitor on February 3rd, I believe, to restart his 90 days. And so here we are at February 25th.
Yeah, but yesterday was my mistake.
Ma'am, I'm not talking to you, so you need to stop interrupting.
Yes, sir.
So, Ms. Judd, then the question is, so where was he supposed to be on the night in question?
He was supposed to be at home. Ms. Cruz had a visit scheduled with him, a virtual visit, and was trying to do that, and Mom told her that he wasn't there. Ms. Cruz checked with the EM office, and they were able to locate him at his dad's address, which he does visit his father every other weekend from Fridays to Mondays. And we have approved that. He was there last week, returned from dad's on Monday, but reportedly he left yesterday and went to his father's home. It's the information we received.
So where was he supposed to be on the 24th, yesterday?
His mother's home.
He was home.
Okay, ma'am, if you interrupt one more time, I'm gonna have the bailiff take you into custody for contempt of court. All right, this is your last and final warning. I will give you a chance to talk. This is not that chance.
Okay, yes, sir.
So, Ms. Judd, so yesterday he was supposed to be at Mom's, but he was in fact at Dad's. Is that correct?
Yes, according to Mr. Scott in the EM office. Yes,
okay.
Sir.
But we normally allow Martin to go to his father on the weekends according to the possession schedule. Is that correct?
Yes, every other weekend. Yes, sir.
Okay, that answers my question. So, but he was, as far as the EM tracking, he was at his father's. There's no concern about him going by other places on the way or anything like that.
Not to our knowledge. They tracked him at the time that we looked. He was at his father's.
Okay, all right. Then I'm not very concerned about this. Mom, you wanted to say something?
All of this is all the miscommunication and understanding with the EM department. The EM department had dad's address as his permanent residing residence with the monitor, because even Miss Angela stated she had to call them to have them change the address. So they're thinking he was supposed to be at dad's, but I said he wasn't supposed to be at dad's. He's at home. I panicked. I made too many phone calls. All of this is my fault. Martin did not violate.
Mom, hold on. You are more stressed about this than I am right
because
now.
I dropped the ball yesterday.
Mom, you are more stressed about this than I am right now.
Because he shouldn't be here. He's been doing good.
Okay. Hold on. I'm just saying. I mean, I'm trying to say calm down without saying calm down, right? What I'm telling you is I'm not stressed about this right now.
Okay.
If, as a parent, sometimes there's some flexibility. I'm okay. If Martin's with you or his dad,
yes,
then that doesn't bother me. I want Martin to spend time with both of his parents.
Yes, sir.
That's
sorry.
where I'm coming from.
I'm just trying
yes,
to.
According to Ms. Judd, Martin was supposed to be at your house yesterday, but he was in fact at his father's house. This doesn't really bother me that much. Okay, it's just a mix-up. And actually, what's encouraging is the fact that you were calling us saying, hey, Martine's not here when he's supposed to be, that shows me that you're being engaged in your son's supervision, which is I like that. Okay.
I'm so sorry.
Now, no. I want you to call. I don't want this to be a negative experience. All right. Martine is on felony probation, so there is supervision, and Martine has to understand, as he's almost 16 years old, that, you know, probation is probation, right? And there are certain rules, and he has to follow the rules. If it's an honest mistake, as a judge, I think I'm very forgiving, and I'm not going to beat up a kid over it, right? It's an honest mistake.
It was.
So that being said, if this is the only situation that he was at dad's house instead of yours, and you were proactive by calling us, I'm okay with releasing him. My question, though, is, Ms. Judd, did we give him a UA when he came into custody?
I believe one was requested, Your Honor, but last time I checked, he had not.
All right, Martine, did you give a UA when you came here?
Yes, Your Honor. When I came in, I asked these questions, and he said take a UA, and I did.
Okay, good.
I came back clean, Your Honor.
Okay, good. That's exactly what I hear. That means you're doing everything around our probation. So this is what I'm going to do: is Judd or Ms. Bryant, if you can confirm that the UA is clean, we'll release Martine on EM, and his mom can take him from here. If he is dirty, then we're going to detain him. All right, Mom, this goes back to when you're saying he's doing everything he's supposed to do. If he really was, he goes home. This is just a hiccup. But if he had been smoking weed or something, then we're going to keep him. That's the consequence. Mom, not your fault. That's his fault. Okay?
Okay, sir.
All right, so Martine, as long as you're clean, you have nothing to worry about. You're going home. Okay?
Thank you so much, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Caitlin Lopez.
Have a good day, man.
Oh, hi.
Hello, Ms. Lopez. I'm Judge Kim. This is a detention hearing. When a kid's brought to our facility, you have to see a judge within 2 business days. I have to decide whether to keep you in custody or to release you. If I keep you here, you have to see a judge every 10 days while you're here. You have the right to remain silent. You have a right to an attorney. We have appointed an attorney for you. That is Mr. Adler. Good morning, Mr. Adler.
Hello, Judge.
All right, so Caitlin, let's see, you're 16 years old. You were on probation for an assault family violence case and also another assault family violence case. Well, you got lucky you didn't get hit with a felony. Repeat offender. Right. So let's see, yesterday, you're brought into intake by Keller Police Department on a warrant that Judge Porter issued for you for curfew violations. All right. PO contacted your mom, talked about the referral in the detention hearing. Mom told you. Mom was told that you'd be administered a COVID-19 test and remain here for at least 10 days and 72 hours fever-free or until the test comes back negative. And she's supposed to be here. Do we have Mom here? Oh, hello, Mom. Okay. All right. So let's see. We were notified that you were associating with a juvenile who has a known criminal history and an outstanding warrant. We recognize the screenshot that the parents of the, all right, help me out here, Ms. Hunt. I think we have a grammar error. PO did recognize the screenshot that the parents of the alleged associate.
What are you asking, Your Honor?
Go on the first page of the second to last sentence. It says PO did recognize the screenshot that the parents of the alleged associate.
Oh, yeah, associate, sorry, I switched that up a couple times. There was a screenshot on Snapchat or Instagram with someone that resembles somebody that I knew from probation.
Okay.
And he does have an active warrant out for him.
Okay. So then, Mom, my question for you is, why is your daughter out hanging out with kids who are on probation?
I was not aware that she was hanging out with him. Okay. She was with her father at that time. He allowed her, this is her dad right here, to spend the night with a friend's house. He can better explain what happened.
I'll make it short. I had taken her to a sleepover with a friend who I've met, the dad I've met. Everything was fine on, I forget what night, Saturday night. She got there, apparently wasn't allowed to be there. So her ex-boyfriend picked her up. She stayed with him that night. The next day we get your butt home. She went home, was there a couple of hours at Lisa, her mom's house, and then ran away. And then that's when she was hanging out with at least one known felon who stole cars and all kinds of other things. But every night she was with a different person until she finally came back.
Okay. So my question is, are you okay with your daughter spending the night with an ex-boyfriend?
No, she did not have permission.
No, that was not what was supposed to
No,
happen.
she did not have permission from either her father or myself to leave my house.
I'm not accusing. I'm just saying some parents do, some parents don't. I'm trying to figure out. Okay, so that being said, what is Caitlin's schooling situation? Is she on remote or in person?
In person.
In person, okay.
Yes, sir. She did not go to school this past Monday.
Or Tuesday, right?
And Caitlin does have a history of running away. So
correct.
This is now that, and just so you know, mom and dad, she did test negative on a drug test. Okay, in case you were wondering. So then my question for mom and dad, it seems like y'all are no longer together. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So it seems like y'all are doing your best to co-parent as well as be parents for Caitlin. And you're trying, now she's 16 years old. There's only so much we can force a 16-year-old to do. And I get that. So my thing right now is I just want to make sure Caitlin can abide by the conditions of probation. This is the crazy thing about 2021 is that kids are snitching on themselves through social media. And so like, they just don't get it. Like Caitlin's only in trouble because she couldn't stay off Snapchat. So had she never gone on there, we wouldn't have known. That being said, mom, dad, my question is, I'm inclined to release her to y'all on electronic monitor. Is this something that you feel like that you can appropriately supervise her if I was to release her to you?
Approximately the last time that I had her, she went to a friend's house and she did not stay at that current friend's house. She went to a different friend's house. Her father was unaware of this. Her probation officer was aware of this. So this is the second time and just within a couple of weeks that she has done this.
I'm seeing a pattern here. If I was a parent, I may not let her go to friends' houses anymore.
Yes.
Right? That may be the point we're at. I'm not telling you how to be a parent. Ultimately, Caitlin's getting to the age where she's responsible for her own decisions. But that being said, I just need to know. I mean, I think I'm perfectly justified in holding her here for what she's done. But at this point, if with this additional information that you have, mom and dad, if you feel like it's more appropriate to release her to you on electronic monitor, I'm willing to do so. If you feel like at this point you're having issues with trusting her because she's been lying to you, then I'm okay with keeping her here a little longer.
Can I ask a quick question, sir? Sure. This keeps happening, obviously. This isn't the first time she's been here, and no, we don't trust her at all. And this is the first time I've let her have a sleepover in months because I thought I could trust her. But
she burned you.
Yeah, stupid me. But is there a way that if this happens again, because she has no fear of the system, she has outwardly told us nothing will ever happen to her. So that's why we keep coming back here. No fear.
Really?
Yes, we obviously want her home because we love her, but we don't want this to keep happening. Next time we could be going to the morgue, not court. Is there anything that we can do that's more black and white to tell her, if this happens again, this is what's going to happen, instead of coming in here and then she gets released? And
well, so that's kind of thing, Dad, that it's really, I don't think anybody can say with certainty what's going to happen in the future. That really her attorney, the district attorney, everyone gets involved. But I'm deeply concerned if she's telling you that she's not concerned about any consequence from this. And so
maybe she can tell you herself. I don't know if that's her. I can't see that well, even with my glasses.
All right.
It's her. And she recently, within the past month or two, failed a drug test at my house because I have a drug test kit, and she admitted to using marijuana out with friends.
Right.
So
is that all she tested for?
The test kit that I currently have just tests for marijuana, and she knows that she can drink alcohol because her PO did tell her that the test that the system test for does not test for alcohol. So no, she knows that she can drink and get away with it. Yeah, and yes, the friend that she hangs out with, Antoine, she knows that she didn't have permission to hang out with him, and we are very familiar with him. And
the child on probation?
One more time, Your Honor.
Not the child that was on probation, Antoine? Okay, let's go ahead and get an out of custody detention hearing for him.
He has a warrant out already, Your
Okay,
Honor.
all right, so we'll deal with that when we get to it. This is what I'll do then right now, Mr. Adler, I'm gonna kind of clue you in. I think what we need to do is I want to detain her, I want to give her a hair follicle test. We go back further to see what other substances she's been using. And also, Ms. Hunt, if we can start a full investigation, we may need to look at a placement for this child if she in fact is telling the parents she's not concerned about any consequences from this court. So let's go ahead and get that process started. I think that also means we need a psychological evaluation.
She's had a few.
Yeah, and yeah, it's really starting to more negative. We've brought it up in the past, but it's far more negatively impacting her younger brother and sister.
Yeah, we have a duty to them. So Caitlin, I see your hand is raised. If you want to ask me a question, I don't mind you asking. If you want to tell me something or explain something, this is not the time. And your attorney, Mr. Adler, does not want you to explain anything to me. All right. So that being said, do you have a question for me or do you want to tell me something?
I was just gonna say they took
Whoa. When you say I'm gonna say, that's explaining something to me. All right. So I've made up my mind. I'm detaining you. I'm giving you a hair follicle test, and I'm going to start a placement search. But if you have a question for me, I'm more than happy to answer the question.
Okay, well then can I speak to him alone for a second?
Yeah, he will call you, and you can go and talk to you about your case. Mr. Adler is great. In fact, he's one of the ones that probably will come and visit you in person rather than the phone. All right. So, all right. Do you have any other questions for me?
So am I going home?
No, you're not. You're being detained here. We're going to take a hair sample so we can send that off to the lab to see what drugs you've been using other than marijuana, if you have been. And then I'm also going to start an investigation to decide whether you need to go to placement or not. All right. And this is based off of you telling your parents that you're not concerned or
I didn't say that.
worried about the consequences from this court or your decisions.
I've never said that.
Okay. Well, that's a question for your attorney to deal with. But the point right now is I'm having information from your parents that I believe them more than I believe you. Right.
And Your Honor, for what it's worth, she has been a lot better with all the other things that were going on. Just this run, to be honest, her running away really took us by surprise because things were heading on an upward trajectory. It was getting better. And I don't know if this had to do with a boy or not, her running away, but things were starting to get a little better. I just wanted to throw that out there.
If the first person that can figure out the mind of a 16-year-old girl is going to be a very rich man. So we're just not there. So I have no idea what's going on in Caitlin's mind. I don't know why she's making the decisions that she's making, but it seems like some of the decisions were very poor decisions. At the very least, Caitlin, you're hanging out with a kid that's on probation. And so you knew you're not supposed to do that.
I didn't know he was on probation.
Well,
he's on serious.
Your job to know. That is your job to know, Caitlin. That's the thing about life is so many times people are like, oh, I didn't know I wasn't supposed to do that. Was that wrong? And so it is your job to know. If you're making the big girl decisions to hang out with people, you have to take the big girl responsibility of knowing who to hang out with and who not to. That's nobody's fault but yours.
He spoke out because he knew the police were involved. That was the only reason.
Judge, I would ask my client to please not say another word. You've made your decisions. Can we please move on?
Yes, absolutely.
I appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
All right.
I do have medication. Is it okay if I go on the other side and
Oh,
drop?
yes. So Ms. Hunt will come and meet you and she'll get the medications to make sure Caitlin.
Okay. Thank you,
When's
sir.
the last time she saw her mental health doctor?
She goes about every month, so it's coming up on that time again.
Okay. Ms. Hunt, if we need to do a psychiatric because it's time, then just please let me know.
Okay.
All right.
I got kicked off. Sorry, Judge.
Oh, no, it's all right. We can still hear you. Thank you, Mr. Adler. All right, Ernesto Villa.
Have a good day.
All right, Ernesto, I'm Judge Kim. This is a detention hearing. When a kid's brought in, you have to see a judge within 2 days. I have to decide whether to keep you or release you. If I keep you, you have to see a judge every 10 days while you're here. You have the right to remain silent. You have the right to an attorney. We've appointed Mr. Sierra as your attorney. All right, so November 10th, Judge Porter issued a warrant for you. Finally, February 24th, yesterday, we pick you up on the warrant. You're on probation for felony theft from a person. And you've been on probation before for stealing a car. And we asked for a drug test and you refused. So back in October, there's supposed to be a plea agreement. And that was supposed to be, you're supposed to successfully complete inpatient at TYRC. You're discharged from TYRC for threatening staff. And so that's why we issued a warrant for you. and he's on the run for 3 months. All right, do we have a parent here for Ernesto?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, great. All right, Mom, where's he been for the last 3 months?
In the street.
Did you not call us and tell us?
I was in touch with Mike.
Yes, Your Honor. The mother and I did have conversations from time to time, and she was not able to locate him. He would occasionally contact her by phone, but based on what she told me, he had not returned home.
Wait a minute. So, Mom, you just said he was down the street. So when you say down the street, you knew where he was or you didn't know?
I didn't know he was in the street.
Oh, in the streets. I said down the street. Okay. All right. Well, I mean, Ernesto, you can't violate your probation, go on the run for 3 months, and then refuse a UA. Just so you know, when you refuse a drug test when you come here, I just assume you're positive for anything. Did you give a drug test, Ernesto?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, Mr. Jennings, can you find out what's happening at intake, at detention?
Yes,
And
Your Honor.
they're submitting tests. Yeah, I mean, at this point, there's an order. So, I mean, your supervisor needs to know I'm going to start holding detention staff accountable if they're telling you the wrong thing, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, but I expect them to follow the orders of the court. So, all right, Ernesto, but doesn't change the fact that you're on the run. And so I'm going to go and detain you because I think if I didn't, then you would just run again. It'd be another 3 months before we found you. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right, so at this point, I'm going to turn the docket over to Judge Terry for the remainder of the 10-day hearings. And I'll be back for the under 14. Thank you, Judge Terry.
Thank you. All right, Jarris Brothers.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Judge Terry. This is your 10-day detention hearing. Purpose is to determine whether I can release you to a parent or guardian or if I should keep you here detained. You have a right to remain silent. You have a right to an attorney, and your attorney is Kathleen McGonigal, but I don't believe she's here today. And so, Ms. Hopkins, can you step in, please?
Yes, Your Honor. Good morning, afternoon.
How are you?
I'm well. And yourself?
Doing just okay. Let's see. All
Let me make sure you.
right, Jarris, you've been here since the end of January. Now we've got a petition filed for assault causes bodily injury.
Your Honor, on that report, that the first offense is the one that they've filed. The other two, it runs all together, and I meant to separate it.
Right, so, well, that's listed last. The assault causes bodily injury is filed and the unlawful carrying of weapons are not.
Correct.
Those are being supervisory cautioned.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, he has quite the history with the department. Since 2017. Got it deferred, got probation 2018, theft of property was waived, criminal mischief was waived, supervisory caution there, terroristic threat, fear of imminent bodily injury, probation for failing to ID, giving false information, evading arrest detention 2019 waived, violation disposed of last February. Positive for marijuana the 27th of June. Got all this mess, but you've been on level 1 since February 10th. Which tells me that you definitely know how to play the game. Is there a parent or guardian? Oh, hi, Mom.
Hi.
And Mom says that Mom reports that you're having lots of problems with him obeying your rules. Is that right?
No, I haven't talked to anyone to report anything.
Your Honor, that I handled his case before, and so that was my past history with him. Mother said I think she wanted to speak to you about that.
Okay.
Yeah, so yes, a couple of years or so ago, when all of the other things were going on, I was having problems with Jairus. When these new charges came up, I was completely taken aback because I have not had any issues with him. He's been fine at home with me. He literally barely goes anywhere because of all the COVID stuff. So I would like to see him home. I want him home. I've been in constant contact with your detention center. Jairus has had respiratory issues like his whole life. Like I'm worried about him being in there with the COVID issues and stuff. Like I don't know. I would like him to be able to come home and be able to.
He wasn't worried about COVID issues, ma'am, on this day. So I'm looking at this. I'm not familiar with this report yet. So.
Right, and the things you were listing, those were old things and things.
No, I understand that. I understand that, ma'am. But I can take into consideration his likelihood of reoffending. Okay, and so right now I need a minute to review this report. Oh, so Jairus, you posted a video and story on Snapchat about them attacking the victim. Just like Judge Kim just said, you all snitch on yourselves on social media these days. And then on the 26th of January, 3:15 in the afternoon, Fort Worth PD was dispatched to a stolen vehicle where the vehicle was parked at a residence and occupied by two suspects. They blocked the car and says that you exited the driver's seat and your buddy Austin exited the passenger seat. Odor of THC was emanating from the vehicle, and so both were detained and the vehicle was searched. No marijuana found, but they did discover 5 credit cards with 4 different names on them, a Glock 9mm with a mag containing 25 rounds, 2 15-round magazines, one of which contained 14 rounds. Both arrested for unlawful carrying a weapon. You were referred out of custody by Euless PD for that on the 3rd of February. And then on the 24th of January, a few days before that, it says that approximately 6:19 in the morning, officers were dispatched in references to possible shots fired. Probably a time when you should have been going to school in the morning. Officers arrived on the scene and complainant advised that he heard gunshots in front of his home. The granddaughter advised she knew who it was, and she advised that she was messaging her ex-boyfriend, you, on Instagram. She stated that you two were arguing because you were breaking up. She reported that you were asking her if she was home, and minutes later she heard the gunshots. She did not physically see you at her house. She believed it to be you because of the content of the messages at the time of the incident. One of them said, "We can fight over whatever. Shoot, what's up?" Okay, 9 empty bullet casings were located near the residence. And then February 2nd, officers obtained a copy of the police report where you were arrested in the vehicle belonging to Maria Briones. Officer called her and she disclosed that she knows you as Jay and you were a friend of her brother's, Mr. Ramirez. Officer spoke with him and he admitted he drove you to the complainant's house, which is your girlfriend's house. Stated when they got to the house, you climbed from the front passenger seat of the vehicle between the front and back, where you rolled down the back passenger of the window vehicle and pulled a gun out and began shooting the pistol in the air more than once.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
I guess I'm a little confused. I thought that like those charges were dismissed or something.
Well, they've been supervisory caution. Doesn't mean I can't take things into consideration.
Okay, and then part of the report, it seems like it's missing from what I was told.
Here's the thing, ma'am. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but here's the thing. When your son was first brought in, a judge already found probable cause to believe that an offense was committed and that your son was the one who committed the offense. So we're past all of that. I'm only reading it to determine whether I think he's a danger to himself or the community at this point to determine whether or not I should release him. I am happy that, I'm impressed actually that he has been level 1 outstanding since February 10th. Took him a while to straighten up here. That does tell me that he knows how to behave for an extended period of time. The But these allegations coupled with the assault bodily injury allegations on the 17th have me concerned. And then actually from the 17th, that whole week of January, there are several different things alleged. So I'm not convinced that he's not a danger to the community at this point. And Mr. Brothers, I'm going to encourage you to keep your level 1 outstanding behavior. I want to see how long you can hold this. Okay. I'm not making any promises that next time you would be released, but I would be probably have more trust in you at that point. Okay. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and keep you detained. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Maurice Howard.
Yes, ma'am.
I am Judge Terry. This is your 10-day detention hearing. Purpose of this hearing is to determine whether I should keep you here detained or if I could release you to a parent or guardian. You have a right to remain silent. You have a right to an attorney, and Mr. Adeniji is your attorney, and he is here. And we have a parent or guardian here for him.
Your Honor, the mom's trying to join, but it just gives her the screen. It's not letting her in. She's been trying
Okay,
to
well,
join
she must not have been on time for court, or else she would have been allowed in, and I don't have anything to do with that. And so she wasn't here at 10:30. She's not here. Oh, this is the one that was disorderly conduct, discharge firearm in front of the Marco's Pizza. Oh, okay.
I don't think there was discharge, Judge.
Oh, it wasn't?
I don't think so.
Oh, no. Okay, yeah, that's right. He was a former employee of Marco's Pizza, went up there because, I don't know, I guess he was upset that his girlfriend was told to stop feeding cats or something. And
Yeah, they were being kind to the animals, and
he tried numerous times to open the front door, pointed the handgun at the business and motioned with the handgun for the employees to open the front door, and then tried to call the business using a cell phone and asked the employee to open the front door. Employee refused to open the front door because he was afraid that Maurice was going to use the weapon. Let's see, general manager accessed the employee files and found a record for him with that same phone number in the file. So it was his phone number. He was allegedly seen fleeing the scene in a white Honda Accord when officers arrived, and they obtained video surveillance of a white Honda Accord leaving the parking lot, and during their investigation of him were able to match it to the one in front of Maurice's house. Let's see. Fort Worth PD provided a photo lineup of the two victims at Marco's Pizza, and both picked him out. 70 to 80% surety. And let's see. Uh, 2019 theft of property, possession of a controlled substance, and then probation for assault causes bodily injury from 2019 also. He was positive for cocaine and marijuana when he came in. Probably another good reason not to use cocaine. You go and do something stupid like this. Is he currently on probation?
That's correct, Judge.
Oh, that's right. Okay, since last May.
I think they're saying deadly conduct, but I think it's probably unlawful carrying of weapon. It's more appropriate. I don't think there were threats issued other than him.
Well, it says disorderly conduct is what it says. That's what I'm seeing.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, he wasn't threatening anything other than carrying a gun that he shouldn't be carrying. So that's unlawful.
Mr. Adenishi, would you feel threatened if you were looking in your, I don't know what your law office looks like, but if you had a glass door in front and someone's tapping on it with a gun, demanding you open the door?
I'm a gun person, Judge. I'm not scared of gun.
You probably have one waiting for him, but.
No, I don't own gun, Judge. I'm kidding.
Okay. All right. Mr. Howard, just based on your previous history and the fact that you're on cocaine and marijuana when you came in, I think marijuana, it seems like you all using that, but cocaine too, and then you go out acting like this, and based on your history, your fact you're on probation, I don't think that, the past 12 days are enough to convince me that you are not going to be a danger to the community if you were released at this point. And so I encourage you to keep that up.
Yeah, I think there's some psychological issues. I don't know if he's had a psych evaluation. He's off medication. He wasn't using his medication at the time.
What's he supposed to be taking?
Howard, Morris, what medication are you on that you are not taking?
Your Honor, I was supposed to be taking Seroquel, and I hadn't been on it for a long period of time. Well,
What's the reason he's not taking it?
I didn't have the.
I think the mom was supposed to get the prescription because of the situation with COVID and stuff. They just haven't filled it.
Oh, there's virtual appointments. Mom needs to get him on his medication. She can do a virtual appointment. She can do drive up at the pharmacy. I appreciate you trying to cover for her, Mr. Adenishi, but if you.
No, that's what she said,
this,
Judge.
He needs his
that's
medicine.
what she told me, Judge.
Oh, I'm sure she did. He needs his medicine. He needs it, and
absolutely, I agree.
And so could you please ask her to get it up here for him?
I think she said she was going to. I don't know if she has already. Mr. Miller, do you know?
That's another reason to keep him detained. We need to make sure he's on his medication and that he's all right,
I agree, Judge.
Your Honor.
So, all right. We'll see you next time.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Mr. Adenishi. All right, Robert Lee, the third.
Judge, I'm covering that hearing for the officer, for the PO.
Okay. All right, thank you. Ms. Hopkins, this one is yours. Hi, Mr. Lee. I'm Judge Terry. This is your 10-day detention hearing. Purpose of this hearing is to determine whether I can release you to a parent or guardian, or if I should keep you here detained. You have a right to remain silent. You have a right to an attorney. Your attorney is Janine Hopkins, and she is there on Zoom. Do you see her?
Mm.
Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Does there a parent or guardian here for him?
Judge, I was told that the link was emailed to them, but I don't see them on here.
I don't see anyone here either, so.
Your Honor, Mr. Lee was on earlier.
Oh, that's right. He couldn't follow Judge Kim's instructions, and so he was removed.
Right, I removed him because he was in a moving vehicle.
Yeah, it's actually distracting. When I was observing too, I could see it, in my periphery, so.
Yes.
Okay, so let's see, Mr. Lee. I feel like I've met you before, but I'm not sure. So I just need to go through this again. You are here. I've been here since the end of January for theft of property, 2,500 to 30,000. You were referred by Mansfield PD on 12/29. They were working several cases where vehicles were stolen, VIN numbers changed out, and then sold with a fake title. On the 28th, they were following up on a Silverado truck listed on OfferUp. Detectives contacted the seller, who said that the vehicle was for sale and they could meet to see it. Detectives noted the vehicle had been sold and were not able to locate the vehicle. And this unsuspecting buyer, I don't understand this. Also noticed the vehicle had been sold. The correct VIN showed the Silverado was stolen out of Baytown, Texas. On inspection of the paperwork, title was found to be fraudulent. Search of the vehicle produced a cell phone under the seat. Believed to be placed there by the seller so that the vehicle could be tracked, stolen back, and resold again. Cell phone was taken and placed in another unmarked vehicle, and surveillance was set up at a local shopping center. A Tahoe with damage appeared, was driving very slowly through the parking lot, appeared to be searching for something. The license on the car was returned to a different vehicle. So a traffic stop was attempted, driver evaded, speeding and running red lights. Officers discontinued pursuit and began checking neighborhoods nearest the last location they saw the vehicle and eventually located it. They observed three subjects, 1 block away, and contacted them. You were one of them, and the others were 2 adults. They had the key to the Tahoe that evaded the officers, and you had the key to the stolen Silverado. says that you told officers you were all from Houston and that there were more occupants in the vehicle, 2 more occupants in the vehicle. The resident had video of the suspects exiting the vehicle and a female also observed it. Okay. Oh, and you have 3 pending cases in Harris County for robbery, assault, bodily injury, and assault, bodily injury family member. You have court on the 8th for your pending robbery case. So what are we going to do? Let's see. You are set for the 5th on these here, which is next week. What are we going to do? Are we plan on adjudicating him here or doing something here and then sending it to Harris County, or what are we doing?
That's my understanding from conversations with Mr. Richmond, so we would have the adjudication here and then he would be transferred down for dispo there.
Well, he's been level 1 out. He's been here for 57 days. Actual. He's been level 1 outstanding only for the last 3 days. So that tells me, Mr. Lee, that you don't know how to behave continuously. I'm going to go ahead and keep you detained. We'll figure out what's going on with you next week. Thank you.
Thank you,
Judge.
Your Honor.
Okay, Sergio Mata. Good morning, I'm Judge Terry. This is your 10-day detention hearing. The purpose of this hearing is to determine whether I should release you to a parent or guardian, or if I should keep you detained. You have a right to remain silent, and you have a right to an attorney. Your attorney is Rafael Sierra. He's here. Do you see him waving?
No, ma'am.
Okay, he's here on Zoom.
All right, ma'am.
All right, let's see. What are you here for now? You've been on level 1 for the last week. You were brought in on the 10th of this month to Fort Worth PD for assault causes bodily injury. Family member does it on the 9th. Officer was dispatched to the residence, and then when he arrived, Dad indicated you had family night at a local restaurant. On the way home, you turned the music on, and that Dad found inappropriate. He told you to turn it down. You became upset, insulting him. You told him you would kick his ass, and then punched your dad in the face with a closed fist. Dad was driving the vehicle at a high rate of speed on North Freeway when you did this. He was attempting to stop. You reached over and poked him in the eye, and then he quickly stepped on the brakes and was able to stop on the shoulder safely. Dad hit you back to defend himself, and you reacted by putting your dad in a headlock, began to punch him on the head. After that, you told your dad that you would stab him once you got home. Mom was in the vehicle too. You went to the restroom when you got home. Mom feared you were getting a razor or something else to cut. And then on the 7th of January, you were referred by Fort Worth PD for criminal mischief. Around 3:20 p.m., Fort Worth PD school resource officer was working at Riverside Middle School and was dispatched by a cafeteria worker who reported that you kicked the front quarter panel of her car, causing damage of over $1,000. Is this another one supposed to be on medication? You know, Mr. Sierra?
Based on my communications with my client, Your Honor, no.
So he's just either needs to be evaluated or he's just got some aggression issues and thinks he can act out.
Well, I'll tell you this, Judge. I've had a couple of conversations with him, and he's communicated the fact that he recognizes the circumstances. He's been in communication with his parents. Based on my conversation with him, he's able to ready to make those adjustments necessary to be in compliance. I know Mom is willing and able to bring him to court and willing to take him in, Your Honor. I wish I could say this for all my clients, but I'll tell you something about Mr. Mata. He's been very sincere, open in conversation, and I hope I can provide those assurances to you in your decision to please release him, Your Honor.
All right, is that Mom there in the parent room?
Yes.
Does he go to school, Mom?
Yes, he does.
Does he go in person or online?
Sometimes virtual, sometimes in person.
So he can choose to go back and forth, or?
He's been having a little, I mean, since quarantine started, I mean, he hasn't been, I don't know, it's not like he doesn't want to go,
Okay,
but
well, my question is, so he can choose whether he wants to go in person, the school allows that?
yes, sometimes,
What school district is he in, Fort Worth ISD?
yes.
Okay, and my guess is you were probably gonna say something about, go ahead and say what you were gonna say about since he's been in quarantine.
I mean, a lot of students are not going to school like every day. Sometimes he's been having hard times just to get up and then he just decides to stay online, but it's okay with the teachers. I already talked to them.
Okay, has he been doing better in school or worse since he's been doing that?
A little worse because I mean, it's hard to do the work in the computer, but I mean.
And I'm not judging because I have children of my own going through the same thing, so I'm not, but sometimes we have to look and see, okay, is this working for this child?
Yeah,
right?
That's why he's been going like in person and then virtual, because sometimes I don't feel like he's not learning, so I decide to send him to school.
Right.
Then,
So here's what I want to do. How does he get to school when he goes in person?
I drop him off, or my mom drops him off.
Okay, and then he gets picked up after school?
Yeah, but he usually stays after school for practice.
Okay, practice for what?
Athletics, football, basketball.
Okay. So he's got good things going for him. My guess is that he needs some consistency. It is not good to be complete. This whole last year, everyone's been disruptive. I think it's been even worse on the kids. And if you're telling me we've got a child who normally doesn't act like this and who normally does okay, and this whole thing has got him disrupted, then we're going to get him back in line. As long as Fort Worth ISD is open to attend class in live, if you want him home, I will release him because his behavior level has been level 1 outstanding. But I'm going to order this as a condition of his release. He has to go to school live every day in person.
Yeah, I talked to him and he wants to go to school now.
Well, right now, I'm glad he wants to because that's what he's going to be ordered. That's going to be a condition. So if I find out he's giving you a hard time and he's staying and just going virtually and things aren't getting better for him, then he's going to have to have an answer for that. Okay. But he can go home, but he's going to be going to school in person.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome.
That's my mom. Thank you, ma'am. Hello?
Hey, Devisha Potter.
Your Honor,
Hi.
Mom was disconnected and she's trying to log back on.
What's mom's name?
Maggie Blake.
Okay, I see her here. Hi, Devisha. I'm Judge Terry. This is your 10-day detention hearing, and you know the purpose of this is to determine whether I should keep you here or release you to mom. You have a right to remain silent. You have a right to an attorney, and your attorney is Mr. Youngblood. He is here. Oh, let's see. Oh, that's right. You're here pending placement. You were placed on probation by Judge Porter back in January. You're on probation until your 18th birthday, and you're waiting to go out to Phoenix. I guess that's been postponed because certain approvals are supposed to be made by Commissioner's Court, and obviously they weren't there last week because the county was shut down for the weather. So I'm hoping that will take place maybe this week. Is that right, Mr. Houston?
It was approved. We're just waiting on the tickets to be purchased and also placement to set a date so she can be admitted.
Okay. All right. Ms. Potter, you don't want to mess this up. I noticed your behavior is level 2 outstanding as of today. I don't know what's going on, but right now you have a PACE placement approved. And so if you want to get there and start putting all of this behind you, you need to improve your behavior level, okay? So that you don't put anything at risk. So I'm detaining you, obviously, till we can get you into placement.
Oh, Your Honor,
Yes.
you probably know this, but she's had 3 bad breaks, I guess I'll call it, regarding sending her to this placement. And the most recent one was simply that the Commissioners Court didn't meet during the week that they were off. Do we know when they're supposed to meet again? And are we going to present Mr. Houston another request for funding for the flight?
They have approved. We just
As we said,
waiting
it's
on
been approved. It's just,
Oh,
when will the flight be purchased, I guess?
I don't have that information. Mr. Alexander from placement is on.
Well, she doesn't have anything to do with purchasing the flight, right? That's all. Or do you know Mr. Alexander?
Yeah, I'm working with Division for the placement unit. So like I said, it got postponed due to the weather and Commissioner's Court. It has been approved as of Tuesday of this week. About 30 minutes ago, I spoke with the placement, and we are currently trying to figure out how we're going to get her transported from here to Arizona. So that is being discussed. It's been taken up the chain, and we're trying to get her transported ASAP. But at this moment, we don't have a ticket or a date.
And Your Honor, if you'll bear with me, I see her hand up. Part of what I'm going to say is to instruct her of something you already know. She would like me to ask you to release her on an electronic monitor. It's my belief that if you do that, she'll lose her placement and probably the place in line for it, and maybe even the transport, but I could be wrong about that. Mr. Alexander, is that correct?
I don't think if she was released, she would lose her spot. Her bed is her bed. We're just waiting to get her a plane ticket to get her out there.
Okay. Well, anyway, Your Honor, she would like to be released on an electronic monitor.
Right. I think at this point, and I can understand that, I think at this point, Ms. Potter, you have had 2 DTAs issued in the last 12 months and 3 violations of court orders since then. So you just need to be at placement. I'm not going to risk losing you out there somewhere you're running or whatever, or having to find you again. Because I do believe at that point you will probably if that happens, may miss your opportunity for this placement. So I am going to keep you detained.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I be excused?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Youngblood.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. Angel Torres? Oh, Salazar, I'm sorry. Angel Salazar? Why are they off now?
Let me call them back.
Yeah, Trace is on that too. Thank you. Oh, here they are. They're coming back.
Copy, Your Honor. They lost their internet feed and they're trying to reconnect in the back.
Okay, I just let them back in. It must have jumped off again. No, there they are.
We'll reconnect you, man. Okay. Okay. This gentleman right here.
All right, Mr. Salazar, I'm Judge Terry. This is your 10-day detention hearing. Purpose of this is to determine whether I should release you to a parent or guardian or if you should remain detained. You have a right to remain silent. You have a right to an attorney. Your attorney is Mr. Sierra. He is here on Zoom. I will note that on your first detention hearing, there was previously found probable cause to believe that an offense occurred and that you were the one who committed that offense, 1, 2, 3 of them. And you are now level 3 unacceptable. So you will continue to be detained. Thank you.
Judge, I just want you to know, to have a little bit of context, Judge. I understand you've made your decision.
Okay.
My client, I think that he was a level 1 until recently when he got cited, that he got brought to level 3 for speaking in line. Now, I understand that he is supposed to follow his instructions and keep his mouth shut when he's in line. However, there was another individual who threw him an F-bomb. And when the guy threw him the F-bomb, he responded with, "What?" And of course, that's when the guards picked up on it. And that's why he was demoted to level 3. That is
So
my,
from 1 to 3, is that, who's the PO? Ms. Rojas, is that right?
Your Honor, I'm coming for.
Okay, I kind of want to hear some more about this just because I'm curious.
What Raphael's referencing, I can only see that the date that happened was the 23rd, and that's when he dipped down to a 3 confined. And the behavior from yesterday says slow to comply, throwing up, paying cents, and being disrespectful. But it does show that he has DNA status with 2 kids in the back.
So Mr. Sierra is right about that. Obviously, I believe you, Mr. Sierra, but there was a little bit, there's more to it than that, right? There was another incident too?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So Mr. Salazar has earned his level 3 and his right to stay here. And so we'll see you next time.
thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Okay, Judge, we have to take the laptop to the other individual.
All right. Thank you. And that's Marvin Bellador.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Yanez, you want to stay in there with the mom?
Yes, Your Honor. That's
Okay.
all. You're able to hear me okay?
Oh, yeah, that's fine. Whatever you choose. Just want to make sure that you knew there was another room available if you chose.
Thank you.
Mhm. Mr. Bellador, I'm Judge Terry. This is your 10-day detention hearing, and the purpose of this is to determine whether I can release you back to your mom or if I should keep you here detained. You have a right to remain silent. You have a right to an attorney. Your attorney is here. He's standing there behind mom. Let's see. You've been level 1 outstanding since the 13th, so for the last 12 days. This is your first 10-day. You were brought in here on the 10th. For engaging in organized criminal activity, theft from a person, and robbery. Says, per the Fort Worth PD report, the complainant called 911 after suspect stole his son's money. Victim was purchased in a phone via OfferUp. 4 suspects arrived in a black Honda Accord. Driver told the victim that the phone was in the back seat and rolled the window down. The victim approached the window. Backseat passenger grabbed the money from the victim's hands, and the vehicle drove off. $250. It was 12 20s, a 5, and 5 1s. Complainant provided the location of the vehicle. Officers followed it and conducted a traffic stop after it drove along the shoulder on 820. Driver was Eric Cuevas, who is currently on probation, and you were in the front passenger seat. 2 adults were in the back seat. One was a 17-year-old. Search found the denominations of money. Let's see. The OfferUp account belonged to one of the adults. Yeah, that he took the money and that you guys took 100. You took 100 of it with Marvin. And the other 2 adults took 50. You stated that you used your phone to locate the address where the offense occurred. Oh, wait, so the robbery was back in August of last year. You were referred for aggravated robbery. And that was at Academy off North Tarrant Parkway in Fort Worth. Victim advised officers he was going to sell some shoes and walked in about to your vehicle, a white GMC Sierra. You viewed the shoes, placed them on the truck before going to get money from the driver's side. When you pulled out a dirty silver handgun with a black grip, so you pointed the gun at the victim and drove off. Officers found the address, matching the license plate of the car you were driving, and spoke to your mother. She said you were in possession of her truck. Pinged your location, which allowed officers to locate the truck. They stopped you, and you were the only one there. All right. You were released on EM on 9/10 and had it removed after 2 months of no issues and participating in school. So till November, positive for marijuana when you came back in February. So November, you were good. So about 2 months went by when you get in trouble for this. It's kind of one of those things, taking things that don't belong to you again. You have a court date set for the 8th with Judge Porter. How was he doing in school after he was released?
When he got released, he enrolled in school. He started attending. I think he was virtual for a little while, and then he started doing in person. Mom was getting paperwork saying that he was present at school, and the principal did tell me that Marvin was actually doing better academically wise at school.
Okay, even like this semester too?
Yes, ma'am. Well, compared to the beginning of last semester, it started off down and he started trending upwards when he was released from detention.
What time of day did this offense occur? Like in the afternoon? I see it now.
During the day.
Yeah. On a Tuesday when he's supposed to be at school.
Yes, and it says 4 o'clock, so school would have been out by.
Oh, it was 4. I'm reading it as, oh, I guess it was 4. I'm sorry. And he has been attending school, Mom?
¿Ha estado asistiendo a la escuela,
Yo
señora?
lo llevo, sí.
Yes, I take him. Yes.
Nunca falta él.
He doesn't miss school. I'm interpreting that.
No, I understood her too. Yes.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yes.
Judge, just let me know when you'd like me to speak up here.
Go ahead, Mr. Yanis. Go ahead.
Okay, yes, we are scheduled for court on March 8th. And just over these last, between yesterday and today, I've been in communication with Mr. Reed with the DA's office. We've actually reached an agreement about what to do with these cases. He's, I believe, filing or filed a new petition adding 1 charge of theft from a person to it. But we've reached an agreement that would call for him. I mean, it actually on the newer event, this February 9th event, he's not going to plead true to anything with that. He's merely present, and our agreement is to have him plead to theft from a person on the August event, and it calls for him to be placed on probation to his 18th birthday, and to begin that probation with an electronic monitor until further order of the court. And so we'll be doing that presumably on March 8th. So what we're asking for is for him to be released today on an electronic monitor, as it seems that that's what he would be on in just a couple of weeks anyway.
So I'll basically be beginning it early.
Yes, Your Honor. And I just this morning received the written stipulation and signed it with his mother. So we're getting that squared away.
Okay. Well, here's the thing, Mr. Velador, you have I don't like your behavior pattern, obviously, in the last several months. But you have shown that when the court does give you orders, you follow them. You're going to school, like Mom said. You're doing better by, I believe what Mr. Navas says, he's talked to your principal and your mom has been cooperating with JP. So I think you're in good hands at home. We just got to keep you at home. I will send you home on a monitor, and obviously Mom will get him back here for his plea date. Is that right, Mr. Yanis? No issues? Okay.
That's right. Mom, I expect Mom will be present for March 8th for the hearing.
He's also going to go home with a sweat patch.
Judge Terry, can I offer something on the state's behalf?
Sure.
And if if Mr. Yanez was agreeable, and the court was available, can we just, I'll leave this up to Mr. Yanez. It's really his call. Can we just have an adjudication hearing immediately after the detention hearing? So they don't have to come back on the 8th, but I'll completely defer to Mr. Yanez and the court's availability on that issue.
I'm going to look at my calendar right now. I think that's going to work for me. Yeah, I don't have anything until 2 o'clock. So I'm okay to do that.
You guys are gonna have to jump on my Zoom link if you want to do that. Because Judge Kim's gonna need to finish these detention hearings. Part of me wants to say no and see how he does, see if he messes up before the 8th, but the other part of me knows that he's been pretty good when he's under instructions. I wouldn't expect that he would violate the conditions of release, and so I'll go ahead and do that today.
Okay, very good. I think I'll just need to receive an email with.
Talk to the court coordinator about that. They'll set you guys all up. So, all right. So we'll go ahead and do that. You guys need to get all the paperwork into my courtroom, and then do not bring the next child in yet because the child is under the age of 12 and pursuant to Texas Family Code 5408. C, the court shall close the hearing to the public when a child is under the age of 14, unless the court can find that the interest of the public would best be served by keeping the hearing open to the public or the interest of the child, and the court cannot find that for the next child, and so we will turn off the live stream to YouTube.
Under 14. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge Kim.
Thank you.